Yo, yo, yo. It's your boys back in the building. Big L, Big Faro. Week 11 edition of the Talking Ball Pod with my homie. Talking a little college ball. He's back in the States from his little hiatus in the country of Mexico, the wife's homeland.
Hola, mi amigo. Hola, mi amigo.
Hola. Yeah,
¿Cómo
yeah.
estás?
You had a nice little trip there, buddy.
It was good. It was good. A lot of tequila,
A
wedding,
lot of,
good
lot of
times.
tequila. A lot of
Day of the
tequila.
Dead. Day of the Dead was going
Yeah, no,
on,
that
so
was
it was
that was
good
pretty
trip.
that was pretty cool that was the time you were there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, man, let's get right into it. We'll hop right into the Canes, man. What is going on with Mario Cristobal and your freaking Miami Hurricanes, man? The month of November hits, and we have another loss, 2-loss Miami team right now, and they got to find something here to close out the season, man.
Yeah. So Saturday, woke up. It was 10 a.m. in Mexico when the game came on. Watched some of it, and it was just it's just frustrating to watch because it's the same things going on over and over and over again. Too many penalties. I got to watch some of it while I was there, and I watched the rest of it when I got back. And
Mhm.
all I see, everyone's throwing Carson under the bus. And I see the first pick. I'm like, JoJo Trader has to catch that. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not on Carson. Um, so there was a JoJo Trader sighting. He played pretty good, had a TD to start the game, but just the penalties, man. 9 penalties for what, 84 yards or whatever,
yeah.
96 yards. You just can't win like that. Um, there's some disconnect going on in that building. We don't
Yeah, man.
know Mario's tight ship. It's just I feel like it's kind of like how Florida State got ready for that first game of the season against Florida State. I mean, against Alabama. I feel like that's Mario's MO. He gets ready for the month of September and October, but they're not changing things as the season goes on. And teams are like, well, we just know they're just going to line up and run the football straight up the middle or throw a screen pass. At this point in the season, when you run those screen passes, you would think they would do like a fake screen where the blocker just releases and gets up field. By this
Right.
point in the season, that guy's going to be open at some point. And it's just too many. There's just too many things going on. Too many illegal procedure penalties. Too many drops. Too many dumb personal fouls on defense. And you just go down the list of things, and you're just like, okay, what is going on? You get the ball back before the half. You could score a touchdown. Malachi Tony has a great punt return. Gets you in the red zone. Elijah Lofton drops the ball in the end zone because he gets popped. Have to settle for 3. And you just look at the game and you're just like, this is the November trend. And this is like what, the last 2 seasons?
Mhm.
We start off 5-0, and I'm hearing you like, hey
No,
man, your
no,
Canes are looking good.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. It is. I can't even put my finger on it. Like how amazing you guys look, and then it's like, man, this team sucks, and it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's like these are not the same teams. Like
Mm-mm.
this is not the team that was playing,
I just
against the Gators. This is not the same team.
I,
Like
I feel like
the intensity level. When I think back to that game in Hard Rock, you
yeah,
know, week 3 or 4,
yeah.
whatever it was. And I look at the way
Even the
the
Notre
teams,
Dame game, even the
yeah,
Florida State game.
I look at the way the teams played. It's like, I don't know, man. It's just like they're like just going through the motions or something. They just
Mm-hmm.
don't look the same. And
No.
yeah, you like you said, 2 years in a row. And like,
Mm-hmm.
man, if this derails your season, like I said, we were talking earlier, like that Miami, I think, still, they're still in it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now they need some things to happen, but again, hell, I told you I don't see another loss. The toughest game I thought was going to be this game going to Dallas and then the Pittsburgh game.
Yeah.
Because I think they should win the next 2. They're better than these teams, but again, you still got to go out
Doesn't
and
matter. You got to play
execute and
football.
do the things you're supposed to do.
Well,
And like I say, it's a collection of, like you just said, it was all bad stuff. Like, sure, Carson could probably play better, but I mean, the first interception, definitely not his fault. Um, the interception right there in overtime, bad ball, bad decision making.
well, it
You can't
wasn't
make that throw.
so that play. Apparently, according to him and according to Dawson, it was dialed up for JoJo Trader, who got tackled in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the officiating. Like, I know people are going to hear this and be like, "Oh, you're blaming the officials." Don't.
Well, like I said, we're going to talk about officiating
Okay, so I'll
altogether.
hold off on that.
No, I
But
mean, no. It's you talk about that play, like it's
yeah,
officiating in college football the last couple weeks, especially even this past weekend, was so under controversy of so many calls in critical spots in critical games, in your game, in the Gator game, in the Clemson game. You know, there was some calls in some other games that were really egregious and bad, and you know, it's just officiating, you know, at this level needs to be, you know, something that we can count on when, you know, there's so much riding on these games, you know, not only just for wins and losses, but, you know, people gambling and, you know, all these calls and they're critical. And now everybody's like questioning everything, you know, it's just like, you know, it's officiating is piss poor, man. It's piss poor.
If the NFL and college football are making billions of dollars, you need to go out and hire officials and make them full-time.
Yeah, that, and then you also need to come up with, you know, great ACC does full transparency with the replay and all this stuff. But I was listening to Prosser this morning, your favorite buddy on, you know, 1010, and he's like officiating is terrible all across the board, and he wasn't even referencing like the Gator game with the catch no catch or this or that or whatever. He was saying that, you know, there needs to be some rule in effect of like the guys who do the replay, they should literally be in a soundproof room is what he used. These analysis and said, hey, that way there's no biases. You don't know what's going on. We're just going to send you this play. I'm not even going to tell you what we called it on the field. You guys make the decision. So it's not like, oh, Georgia, the call on the field was that the Sturdivant caught the ball or not caught the ball. They don't have any clue. Watch the replay and you guys figure it out instead of, oh, they called it no catch. We're not going to overturn this. There's not enough. Like, forget all that. Like, let's get the call right. And if you're going to review it and replay it and watch it over and over again with different cameras, like you just said, like, how do we not have a better angle of all these plays that we're spending all this money on? So officials, yeah, sure. Hire better officials, hire year-round officials. We have 100,000 cameras all over the place. How do we not have cameras everywhere?
No, we don't have 100,000 cameras because if you can't look down the line, what game was it where the controversy where the ball going? They were like, "Is the ball crossing the line for a touchdown?" Right. And it was like the craziest, and it was like not down the line; it was like coming out like towards the sideline. And it's like, how are you supposed to know that?
Yeah, and like, officiating sucks, man. It sucks.
So you go to the Miami game, like I said, I'll get back into the recap of them.
Yeah, because we haven't even talked about the other egregious call.
So you have the Keelan Marion's running down the sideline, and you got the DB yanking him by his arm and by his shoulder pads. No call. The Armando Blunt play, he hit Jennings, but he held up because he didn't hear the whistle. I thought that was a bad call. JoJo Trader is tackled in the end zone. No call in overtime. Carson panics. He's trying to get the ball to Tony. I think Tony's depth on the route was just a little deeper than Carson wanted, and the DB was able to get underneath. And then Ruben Baines held every play. They don't call it. So and I think the bigger problem is, like you said, Miami doesn't come out with the intensity of just all gas, no brakes. And I think part of that is, from my perspective, not knowing anything inside that building, I think part of that is on Mario. He's not turning Dawson loose.
Right.
Even with that being said, the creativity in the offense isn't there.
Yeah, it's gotten bland.
You look at 2 years ago or last year, some of the plays they were running with Cam, with Jacoby George and Restrepo, where they're doing orbit routes and, you know, different little bubble screens, fake bubble screens, and the running game was a little different. Now it just feels like we're running up the middle, then we're going to throw a screen, then we're going to take a deep shot. And it's like everyone's jumping on Carson about what he's saying, but I feel this frustration. And it's like, I'm out there, all I can do is run the play that is called. And it seems like this is Mario's 4th year, I think it is.
Yeah.
So 1 year, defense is good, offense is bad. Next year, you make changes. Offense is good, defense is bad. And now we're back at, because the defense, when you think about it,
that's what I'm saying. I was about to say, he gave up 365. What's up with that secondary this week? Like what's going on?
Well, not just that, but we only gave up 20 points.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know,
Gave up a ton of yards. But,
so you think about it. Okay, we gave up 20. If you get 21, you win the game. Like Miami had multiple opportunities in those last two, 3 possessions to put the game away. A 4th and 1, you run up the middle, and this is like, hey man, this is time to be creative. And you just sit there and watch.
They didn't. Here's the other crazy part: they didn't even run to the strength side of the offensive line on that play.
Nope.
Like,
what are we doing? So we're going to run up the middle.
If you're basically going to be like, our nuts are bigger than yours, we're going to run it right at you. At least run it to the strength side of your best offensive lineman. You know?
And that's 100% of what Mario's philosophy is. And it's just like, so like I'm sure we won't know until Dawson's no longer the OC and rumblings come out of what's really going on in those meetings of, is it Mario or is it Dawson? I feel like it's more Mario, and he just wants to. We're just gonna pound. Like I love that, but there are gonna be times where it's like, hey man, you got these Ferraris on the outside, and you got a good quarterback. For all the Carson slander, I wish people would tell me who would Miami have better at quarterback this season, better than Carson Beck.
Yeah, no, for sure, exactly. If you would have not done anything
and stuck with Emery and Luke Nickel,
dude, you guys would have the same record or worse. You guys would have the same record or worse.
No, it'd be worse because we probably wouldn't have won that Notre Dame game.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. I agree. So, like, again, like we said, in my opinion, you got the best portal quarterback out there. The only other guy in question was Mateer, and that was kind of like we didn't know what he was going to do type thing.
He went with his OC.
I was about to say, so he went with his offensive coordinator to Oklahoma. Yeah. Whatever. But again, even if Mateer was your quarterback, I don't know how much better off you'd be right now either. Yeah. If these are the play calls that are being held, or if Dawson's being handcuffed into like not being able to really open it up and do what he wants to do, that's definitely a talking point. And like,
I feel like at this point, I texted you when the game, because I kind of lost Wi-Fi and I couldn't keep up with the end of the game, and then I saw it right the time you responded, and I just feel like, and I was like, excuse me, our season's over. But then, that's just a natural reaction after the game.
Yeah, we're done. We're over. Yep.
Yeah, but when looking at it, you're still ranked 18th, 19th in the country.
Yeah, no, yep.
And there's 4 or 5 weeks left. And I'm just like, man, after seeing Georgia Tech lose, you're just like, all right, we're still in it, because there's still a lot of people got to play a lot of other people. I mean, that's just football, right? And I'm like, we still can sneak in it. But at this point, just open it up. Just say, like you said earlier, lay your nuts on the table and just open it up and just say, you know what? This is what everyone's been clamoring for. We're not going to go to the ACC championship game. We might as well win with style points. And
I think now that's what I'm saying. I think the ACC game is out, so you're going to have to get 100%. In that large spot, because just like we talked about 100 times, the imbalance of the ACC schedule, and it's like the log jam of everybody with one loss. And then on top of that, with the teams with 1 losses, 2 of them have already beat you in Louisville and SMU. Yep. So they got the tiebreaker regardless. So then what it boils down to is even Pitt, that's a game you guys got to play.
Yeah.
We talked about Virginia. I know it can happen, but it's just like, man, where are they going to get a loss in these? We talk about there's only 4 games left. They only got 3. They're done. Like, they literally play Wake Forest, who surprisingly beat SMU by 1 the week before. Then Florida State absolutely shellacked their ass. So I don't know what Wake Forest is. Their toughest game now looks like on the road at Duke is going to be Virginia's toughest game. They could definitely drop that game. And then they close out with Virginia Tech, the rivalry game. So, again, even if they were to drop that Duke game, that would only give them 1 loss. They're still going to probably be in the mix to get in that title game with all the 1-loss teams.
Yeah. So that means even if Miami ended 10-2, you're still on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that may help you is if all these teams are sitting at 10-2 and they're looking at your strength of schedule and Notre Dame's in front of you.
Right.
They already have Notre Dame in the playoff, which is crazy to me. But if it's Miami and Notre Dame, who you putting in?
Yeah, you're going to put Notre Dame in there right now. But that would be a tough call because you beat them head-to-head.
We threw the head-to-head out again. Yeah, so we had this argument last year. But I just feel like Not
Yeah,
thinking,
when they're both 10-2, yeah, you're like, that should be a no-brainer. Miami's
right.
ahead of them, whatever.
But
Trust, I think the rankings come out for the first time tomorrow or maybe
yeah,
tonight.
but
So it'll be interesting to see
not
where everybody.
yeah, for sure. But not, not jumping ahead.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just feel like going into this week for Syracuse is, hey man, just open the offense up and just let it rip. Let it rip. Because there are times where you're just like, man, just let Carson just we're doing stale routes where he has to sit back and wait on the receivers to get open. It's like, why aren't we like the little snag route that Tony ran at the beginning of the season? I have not seen that route since week 2.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Not running any crossers. Everything is just, I know CJ didn't play this week, but and you just watch it and you're just like, hey, we're not in October anymore. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know if Mario has a guy on staff that he trusts, like an outside analyst to be like, these, giving tendency reports. Every coach usually had, well, not every coach, most coaches have that outside one or two guys that they, like an older coach that's retired, and they just give them
Right.
tendency reports.
Yeah.
And it feels like he doesn't do that. It feels like he is not getting that. And he's not going to get fired. Not saying that. But I
Yeah,
think if this
I
same
I
thing
was wondering
happens next year,
I was wondering where you I'm not trying to put Mario on the hot seat or anything like that, but where are you as a fan? Like, I guess here's the thing. Maybe, like I say, you sneak your way into a playoff, then it's different. But if you basically finish 10-2 and you're out of the playoffs again and you're at the Pop-Tart Bowl again, yeah, going into next season, you're like, okay, we got to have some expectations because we got some guys coming back. But like, damn, like, are we about to see? Here's the crazy part: are we about to see the same results, aka Billy Napier, but you're winning 9 and 10 games a year,
yeah,
but you're not getting to any, like, you're underperforming in games you shouldn't,
yep,
and basically it's a repeat. You're just seeing the same shit. That's where
yeah.
fans get completely tired of that because
Well,
you want to see, like you say, man, go out in a glaze of glory, man. Let me like, I don't
yeah,
want to see this. Like you say, like, if we got these major weapons at wide receiver, and we got one of the best quarterbacks in the portal in college football, one of the top guys who's won a national title, who's, I don't think the injury is affecting him like
no, I don't
anybody
think
thought
so.
it might. And so, he was a potential first rounder, all that. So like all that just went away, so it's
Hmm.
like play to the strengths of these guys and say, let's really stress these defenses
Well,
instead
and
of just so conservatively.
so so with that being said, a lot of people are jumping, the fan base is jumping on Dawson, and I'm like, okay, if I'll give Mario credit, the last several years he's made the big move after the season, being like, all
Right.
right, Gaddis, this isn't working. We need to move on. Then you hire Shannon Dawson. Then I forgot my man, the DC at LSU
Gidry,
now.
or is it
Well,
Gidry?
Gidry as well. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
had Gidry, and it wasn't working out. He made the move. So he's not one of those coaches that's being stubborn, but I feel like he's being stubborn with his philosophy,
Right.
not stubborn with the coaches. So it's like, I'll say to Miami fans, like, okay, you fire Dawson or Dawson leaves, and you bring in the next hot OC, and then you're sitting there watching the same thing you've been watching the last
Yeah, it'd
3
be like
years.
if Billy did finally go and hire an OC in this past offseason, but we're still
Hmm.
seeing the same crap,
Yeah.
like, again, like, you know, that's what you don't want to see. So
No.
you want to see, you want to, in a sense, you want to be innovative on offense.
Hmm.
That's the major thing in college football. And so I think that's the biggest thing with these head coaches who kind of call plays, or these offensive minded head coaches like a Lane, like a Lincoln
Yeah.
Riley, like these guys, like a Brom. These guys are the head coach, but they're the play caller, and they try to have like an innovative offense. And
Hey,
so
I'm gonna make you laugh.
if you don't,
I'm starting to lean on Coach JB's side of, you shouldn't let offensive lineman be the head coach.
yeah, I
Like,
mean,
because it's like, I get what Mario wants to do,
right, yeah,
but our offensive line is not built in the sense of blowing off the ball. They just want to lean on people,
yeah, and well,
and
really and truly, that's not this day and age of football.
I totally agree. And we
It's not.
don't have that guy at center. People, I see teams. I don't know if they've been watching our podcast, Sponge. Probably not. But
Probably not. Probably not.
did I not say the Florida week, you attacked the Miami offensive line up the middle on James Brockermeyer?
Right.
Since that game, what have teams been doing?
Yeah. No,
Going
for sure.
straight at the center, and his
Yep.
ass has been getting blown up every
Right.
game.
Yeah.
So, hey, Dawson, if you want to run the A gap and you don't have a center that's able to blow the defensive tackle out of the A gap, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah.
Just food for
No,
thought.
for sure. For
Just,
sure. For
I
sure.
mean, coming from a guy that played just a little bit of football with no coaching background.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
All right. Well,
let's see. Can they bounce back? You know,
yeah.
they got
Like I said,
the L.
we'll get
Let's see
we'll
what
get into the
happens.
we'll get into the Syracuse breakdown here in a little bit. I mean, they're a 4-touchdown favorite. Syracuse has got a lot of problems, a lot of injuries. We'll get into that. But yeah, on to the Duval game, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. My Florida Gators did what I thought they would do. I thought they'd bang. I thought they'd play hard. I thought they would do some good things in the game. I thought they'd be in the ball game. 2 years in a row, had a shot in the fourth quarter to win it. And guess what? Winning time, they didn't make those critical first downs. They didn't make the critical stop on, third and fourth downs.
The throw
You
down
just
the field.
you didn't execute when you needed to. And
Yeah.
he
Ultimately,
came up short as per usual, but I mean, I guess it was good to see a little bit of different variation from the offense. We were
getting
able to
Trey
throw it down the
Wilson
field.
involved.
Yeah, I mean, instead of running just sideline motion routes, he was actually running receiver routes and getting up and down the field a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia's obviously it was going to be tough to run the ball on him. I thought Ball did about as good a job as he could. I mean, he had 15 carries for 72 yards. He was averaging 5 a carry. What I absolutely hate, and this goes to show, going back to early parts of the season, RPO with DJ Lagway is the worst effing call in the world. Dude is like in cement boots, molasses.
Yeah,
dog is slow as Christmas.
that's not. But I did like some of the QB draws.
No. What was good that was different was when you run straight QB blast or a QB trap, a QB straight ahead, get vertical.
Yeah.
But hell, we kind of ran that on the third down play late in the game. It was a blast. I even told David here, I'd go quarterback blast right here. It's actually working. What does DJ do? He goes up and then he tries to go north. He got east and west. And what happens? His slow ass got tackled for a no gain. Just fall forward, 240-pound running back at that point. Instead, you want to be slick-footed and try to get outside. It ain't working. So that was the right call. It wasn't an outside sweep type play. It was supposed to be blast. It kind of got jammed up. But I mean, at that point, dude, just get as much as you can. Then we decided to go for it. I didn't love the play call. We get stuffed on that one as well.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that fourth one.
Like, I'll never forget. God rest his soul, Big Bill Franklin. I think about all the time how he used to always say, why teams don't do quarterback sneaks more or do stuff that's closer to the line or whatever, because of the running back is already 5 to 7 yards back. So you got to get 8 yards just to gain 1. You know what I'm saying? On a 4th and 1, you got to run 7 yards just to get to the line.
Not just that, teams are in shotgun doing this. So now you got to get the ball, hand it off, and get the running back
and still run 7 yards just to get your 1.
Yeah,
and so again, yes, whatchamacallit's mastered the tush push. In the NFL, the Jags even struggle with Trevor Lawrence's 8-foot Stretch Armstrong stuff.
Listen, but the tush push is special because of the guy running the tush push.
Yeah, totally.
Everyone keeps forgetting that. They keep saying it's the play. Like, it's the guy under center that's just different. He's built different than everyone else at that position.
And the way they teach it or instruct it with their offensive line, they mastered it.
Yeah.
But again, so I don't love even that point. It's like, get creative to where, like, again, you're interim guys. Like, everybody thinks you're going to run it right up the middle.
Let it hang, man.
Run a little play
let
action.
It hang. Yeah, let it hang.
Tight end to the flats. Run a little something. Like, that was so, it was so easily read. And it's just like, if you want to kind of win a game like that, you got to kind of go off script. Don't be so predictable. And so again, but that it's easier said than done, but you go back to where you basically you get stopped there. And so you're like, all right, and I don't mind. I didn't want to kick the field goal. I asked our Mr. Conservative friend, David Harris, do you kick the field goal here on 4th down to go up 6? And I'm like, he and I both were like, no, because there was still enough time left in the game to where, it wasn't going to make a critical drive. Exactly. Yeah. They would be up 1. And that's kind of what Billy Gonzalez said, the same thing. So it's like, make Georgia drive that, because they had it at the 18-yard line right there. So it was like, all right, I go for it because you're trying to win this game. And obviously then Georgia just proceeds to go right down the field.
I was about to say your run defense kind of disappears.
Last
few drives.
Yeah, Chauncey Bowens, the former Gator commit, ripped off the big touchdown run. So then you're like, okay, well, hey,
you still got a chance.
Exactly. We got the ball back, and like I say, Sturdivant gets way behind the defense. And what do we see again? DJ with shitty mechanics, underthrows a wide open guy.
I just don't get how he even a guy with a strong arm like that.
He doesn't set his feet.
I knew he was off balance, but it was just one of those where,
like I said,
I didn't think I know it was a controversy. I didn't think it was a catch.
Yeah, I couldn't 100% tell. It looked like he might have got his arms underneath, but it looked like it might have been on the grass as well.
Like never been in that situation.
Oh, and like I say, the point of it too is there were plays to be had. Like he missed Tank Hawkins on a corner route earlier in the game. There would have been 6. I mean, it was like a layup type throw, and he overshot him. I don't even know how he connected on the first one to Trey. I was like, that was a hard throw, but he threw it on the run, hit Trey, touchdown. But like there was plays to be had, and your all-world Mr. 5-star quarterback didn't come up clutch.
Yeah.
And like again, I don't know if it's everybody will say he's still injured, and I don't give a shit.
You're past that now. If you're on the field, you got to play.
Make the play, And like I say, you're not going to change mechanics overnight. You're not going to change throwing motions, all that. It's just.
But I think you had 2 weeks to get.
Your freaking. But he hadn't done it all year.
But I know. But I'm just saying. But you had to.
He thinks he's Pat Mahomes and all these other guys. Josh Allen, like you ain't those guys, man.
Dylan
Raiola Jr. broke his leg. He's out for the rest of the year.
But it's all these quarterbacks, though. I think this is what's being taught at a lot of these QB places is throwing off platform. You got to throw off platform. You got to throw.
It's dumb. There needs to be certain times where to be successful and be good at that. Yeah. But if not, you need to do your mechanic stuff right.
Basics.
Like if you're like, holy shit, this guy's wide open. Let me set my feet. Let me roll out.
Yeah.
Let me not try to throw this and throw it all cool and stretch and no, set your feet and let it rip.
Yeah, because
you got a huge play. You got a huge play right there. Now we're 1st and 10 at the 20. With big time momentum.
Exactly.
Not to say that we're going to score there either, but you put it this way: you got a shot. And here's what's even wild about that. Here's what's even wild about that. You still got down to where you had them at 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8, and they run outside, and Kermani McClain got taken out by Delp, dude. He got cleared.
Hey, he was thrown out of the club.
They took him out of the club. They took him to the Gatorade cooler and said, "Hey, we're going this way."
Right.
And so again,
this is the
most frustrating part. This is the most frustrating part is again, and
you didn't expect to win, but you were right there.
Right. And so that you're playing with a top 5 team in the country. You took them to the wire. You did that with Miami when y'all were there. Like LSU, you don't throw 5 interceptions, you're in that game. You beat Texas, who is a top 10 team right now. But you consistently cannot do it week in and week out. And so that's where I feel like, and that's why we fired the coach with a new change of whatever. If you can keep this roster together, you can be competitive and win some of these one-score close games.
I agree with that. I agree.
So that's all we want. And we're not that far away, but again, we got to keep the roster intact. DJ definitely, if he's not healthy, get right, get the right coach in here, and let's go win 9 or 10 games.
I think I hate to say this, but if he's not healthy, and depending on what the injury is, the last 2 games you may just need to sit him because he needs spring practice.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. I definitely agree with that.
Letting him play, and then next thing you know, he's so injured, he's
Right.
not ready to do anything until June.
Yeah,
Then you're
'cause
starting this
now let's
cycle all
see.
over again.
Yeah, because I guess what you could do is after the Kentucky game, you could sit him because then you could just play Trammell the last games and like that won't burn since he played in that LIU game. You could just play him
Yeah,
the remainder of the season and let DJ go ahead. If he needs surgery, let's get surgery. Let's get it taken
right.
care of.
Might as
Like I
well
say, because this roster is still fairly young.
Yeah.
So it's more so of like. And here's the thing: you can see this is one of the things that a lot of people said. Just procedurally, the game looked cleaner. Like it like. There wasn't
Yes.
like the play wasn't getting in there late. There wasn't like those are the things you just don't have to think about. And like
I think the problem was Billy just had so much on his plate and he didn't want to delegate. And that's and that's still a lot of problems for people in power, not just football and just business and
for sure,
work environments and sports.
100%.
It's like sometimes you got to
the sad
say
part about it is your ego gets involved where you think you're the smartest guy. And he clearly said that. Why do you still want to be the play caller? Because I feel like I give us the best chance to win. Well, guess what? That's not the case, buddy.
Well, there's two. So that's the funny thing when you think about the big three in Florida. There's three different egos, and those three different egos are causing those three teams
they're not working successful right now. Exactly, Mario. If you're getting involved and you're handcuffing Shannon Dawson, who looks like he wants to really get up and down, that's a detriment. Billy, we already know you're a pain in the ass. Mikey, now you bring in Gus, like, yeah, no, we all got problems. And like I say, it's a carryover again, because we'll get into it in a second. We got another coach on the block, Hugh Freeze. He got iced. So again, it's like everybody's expectation level is so high. Everybody expects to win. You're not going to.
Yeah.
So it's more so
with those 7 more opportunities is where people are like,
yeah,
you talked about it, because I talked about it with a couple of guys this weekend. We were just talking about coaching fire. I was like, expectations are through the roof. The money's through the roof. Like,
yeah, like,
you got more opportunity.
We said it before, dude. Only one team wins this shit every year.
Yep.
This shit is hard. We all have this stupid like in our head that we're Nick Saban and we're gonna you ain't
right.
Like, so
because when you think about the last 20 years, there's only been 4 or 5 teams that have won a national championship.
There's only 3 guys that are currently coaching right now who have won.
Well, I'm just saying as a whole. You got Clemson, who's won multiple.
Well, that's what
Bama,
I'm
saying. OU, who else?
OU doesn't have multiple.
Not OU. Ohio State. I'm talking about the last 25 years.
Yeah. The Gators.
So there's really only like 5-6 teams in the last 25 years. So that tells you, like you said, Georgia, you're not everyone's going to win it. Hell, Saban had 6 in that 25-year span.
Yeah. Well,
Kirby's had 2. Dabo's had 2 or 3.
Think about people right now. Here's the psycho world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are criticizing Kirby and this Georgia team.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they're not blowing everybody out. They have Kirby has masterfully found a way to say we're a gritty team.
Yeah.
We are going to find a way to win the ball game. We're going to play enough good defense here. We're going to do enough things to sustain drives. Our quarterback doesn't have to throw for 400 yards. We're not going to run it for 300 a game. They just know how to win. And
I think what it
boils down to. Like, the Gators don't know how to win.
Yeah. I think people don't understand. You can't stay to that level forever. And there's going to be a dip in the road.
Yeah.
There's going to be a dip. Like, for a 3-4 year period, before NIL, we're like, well, that's another 5 to 6.
That is the biggest deal right there, because those guys, they know that they don't have to sit and wait anymore. They can go start somewhere else. So what is happening is your depth pieces who were waiting in, like, laying in wait at Bama and Georgia and Clemson and Ohio State. Those guys were like the 5-star. Okay, we got a 5-star already starting. We got a 5-star coming in. Then we're just going to rotate through. Boom, 5-star, 5-star.
Yeah.
Well, now what's happening is they might sign a 5-star, but then he might not really play that first year. And then he's like, well, I'm going to transfer to Missouri.
Well,
I'm going to go here.
Look at the kid at Cal, the quarterback who was committed to Oregon. And then he was like, I'm going to go to Oregon, sit behind Dante Moore. Cal gave him a package and say, you're going to be the starter because our starter left. And now he's out there balling for the most
Right.
part for Cal.
Right.
And
That's
like
what I'm
you
saying.
say, these
You're
kids
losing you're losing your depth. You're losing
Yeah.
your depth.
Yeah.
So then what happens if you lose a starter or a key player, that guy is not as good as what used to roll in at LSU and Bama and Ohio State. Like
when you were
Ohio
2-3
State's
deep.
Ohio State's definitely playing at a high level, but I'm starting to question like who like I feel like Ohio State hadn't played this whole damn season, man. It's kind of wild. Like taking nothing away from them because they got really good play from Stan
they're
right
handling
now.
business. Yeah,
their receiving core is out of this world. Their defense is playing great, but again, like I feel like I have not watched Ohio State play all season, and like I don't even know. Like basically, they get Michigan in a couple weeks, and then they get Indiana. It looks like before the playoffs. So they're going to at least have a couple tests before we get to the playoff. But it's just like meanwhile, Georgia's chugging along with like what they just went through. They go through an overtime game at Tennessee, somehow win.
Well, that's what makes
lose a tough one to
me
Bama.
laugh. Where you hear a Portnoy and you hear people say the Big Ten's better than the SEC, and I'm just like, I try not to be a SEC homer or whatever fan, but it's like the proof's in the pudding. Like you say, when you look at Ohio State's schedule, you're just scratching your head and you're just like, okay. Even Indiana's schedule. You go through their schedules, at least with SEC, you could be like,
here's what I guess
team that's
I
really
guess
ducked
it's
anyone
because
is Missouri.
I guess it's because of the imbalance with that is obviously Penn State is a stain on Indiana and Ohio State because they just how they went this year. They just went downhill. So and then Oregon, who played Ohio State last year, didn't play them this year, but Indiana got them. So
so they don't play anybody else.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And so the third or fourth best team is technically Michigan, and like, who they've already gotten beat by an SEC. Who is it?
USC.
Yeah, but
USC beat Michigan, so technically it would be like the fourth best team, fifth best team.
And then Oklahoma beat Michigan. So it's like again, it's one of those things of it's going to play out. But like I think when Joe sent the thing the other day about like Buds, it's just like, wow, look at these teams. It's like, what the hell, man? It's like, this is crazy looking.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, yeah, technically, Michigan is 5-1. They're in third place behind Indiana and Ohio State. They're technically somehow the only reason they're ahead of Oregon is because they got one more. They're 5-1 in the league.
Yeah.
To whereas Oregon, here you go. Oregon, Iowa, and USC are all 4-1 in the league. And so
and Iowa's not good. So Iowa basically played the bottom of the barrel of the league.
Yeah, they're 6-2 right now. So like I say, if the Gators had Iowa's schedule, what would their record be? And then what would Iowa's schedule be if they had the Gators schedule? Yeah. I know we don't want to play that game, but I mean
semantics. You don't want to play semantics, but still.
Yeah, like now Iowa,
Billy
Oregon.
probably still would have a job,
right? Exactly, which I don't want him to have. So let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately coming into this week, I was talking to, like I said, I was talking to a couple people. It's like you really don't know what to expect because once a coach gets fired, the whole philosophy kind of changes, and it depends on who that guy is going to be an interim and what he wants to do. Kind of like looking at like all this stuff coming out about the LSU situation where Brian Kelly didn't let any of the former players come and how locked down it was and how bad of a person he is, where the interim is just like he sends out a memo to all former players. We want you back. He's a Louisiana guy. I can't think of his name. We want you back. We want to change it up. Like you said, going down the field of that, like Trey Wilson was like
that's asinine that Brian Kelly would even ostracize his guys, former that's dumb as hell, man.
Yeah, and all of them came out and said it because, like you said, why is it taking to week 6, 7 for you to start going down the field to Trey Wilson?
Yeah,
like it doesn't make any sense.
That totally look different.
He had in the first quarter? He had like 4 catches for like 80-something yards, 90-something yards in the first quarter and a half, I should say. I mean, the only part that sucks coming out of this is Dallas Wilson's done for the year.
Yeah, BB3's hurt, so like I say, that's the other part of this Gator team is like we're battling with like some backups and true freshmen playing in the secondary. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you lose Caleb Banks week 2, man. You know what I'm saying? So like he's your NFL like trench monster to be your guy to start in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He's been out.
him and Sapp. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, like Pup Howard hasn't played, so like you look at like Miles Graham is a freaking monster, dude. He's a beast.
The pieces are there. Ultimately, when it comes to any job, it's getting the right person.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Clearly, if you haven't seen that by looking at the LSU situation the last several years, then you just don't understand how things work, like how organizations work, because it starts from top to bottom. And there's so much disconnect when you got the governor coming out saying one thing, the AD saying another thing.
Yeah,
then you got,
well, guess what? Woodward got fired too.
Yeah, he should have.
Yeah,
because what did the governor say? This guy's costing us a lot of money. I can't do the Louisiana accent, but he basically was like.
Meanwhile, you got Ryan Clark. You got Ryan Clark spitting out like, no, he needs to. Bob Woodward's a good guy. He's a good man.
Yeah,
he knows. Yeah. Like, okay, all right, buddy.
Yeah. So we'll see this week with the Gators. Like, I still think you open it up, go downfield.
Yeah, I think
you're still the Florida Gators. You still got talent.
That's what I'm saying. You should like that. That's the other thing. Like even Kirby said it. Like Florida's got a roster. If there's one thing Billy at least did was we have a roster. It's just he couldn't like the ingredients are all there, but the chef couldn't cook. He wasn't cooking nothing.
No,
like dog was burning bowls and like
my man had to make he had to make McDonald's talent trying to run a Ruth Chris,
bro. Like no, we got Ruth Chris ingredients.
Cooking, with the McDonald's
cooking Big Macs and shit right now. Yeah. All right, man. Well, the mighty Florida State Seminoles get back on the winning side.
Hey, they stopped the 9-game ACC
Mike Norvell.
losing
Way to go, Mike. Way to go, Mikey. Way to go. Let's keep that job.
I
don't have much to say about this game because I didn't watch one down of it.
I mean, Florida State just pretty much ran the football. Second half, they took over.
Yeah, no.
First half, it was close, and then second half.
I knew Castellanos had a highly efficient day because he was one of the top quarterbacks. But yeah, basically, what's weird about Wake Forest, they had that early game where they almost pulled off the upset against Georgia Tech. So you're like, okay, they had a 1-point loss there. Then they beat SMU, the team who just beat your Canes by 1 point the previous week. And then, like I say, they go on the road and just get shellacked. So it seems like Wake Forest just kind of like is one of those teams that they're just kind of like, put it this way, Robbie Ashford is not the guy. I mean, we saw him as the backup quarterback at Auburn
and South Carolina.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, Florida State needed this. This was a good get right game because guess what? You got a gut check game this week against a team that's real and big time, dude. So,
BYOG.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to discuss. We could talk about Florida State in the game they got this week. Yeah. So I guess let's recap what other big games that you saw, that your other takeaways from this past week. Obviously, like I say, Ohio State blazed up Penn State. No big surprise there.
No surprise.
Ole Miss pretty much handled South Carolina. Like it was close for a little bit there early. I think the big game early was, and this is the game that I liked last week, the old Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, I was shocked by it.
I felt like this was a spot for Vandy to falter. I felt like there was a whole bunch of other key stats that ended up coming out after we potted last week. Like, Texas hadn't been home in like 4 weeks. So that was like they're back home. Vandy's coming off, an emotional game that they just had against Mizzou. Arch, this was the other crazy part. Arch was kind of in concussion protocol, so they didn't know if he was going to play. We didn't know if he was going to play at that time we talked last week. All that came out, and they came out blazing early, and they jumped up.
Was dialing up, man.
Yeah, they dialing it up. They jumped out early. Arch played really well. Yes, Vandy did make a valiant effort, scored 21 in the fourth quarter to make it a tight game, a little scary. But all in all, like I say, Vandy's a good, scrappy team.
Yeah.
But, here's the thing. Texas they got a freaking roster. They got dudes, but it's just they haven't collectively figured it out.
I think the offensive line issues, they couldn't run the football. Arch was inconsistent. And then the defense, for some odd reason, the defense wasn't up to the stand. After the Ohio State game, they weren't living up to the standard of what they've set the last several years on defense. Yeah. And even in this game, you still gave up 31 points.
Yeah.
I mean, they were shutting them down. They were up, 24-3 for a little bit, and
It
then
was like
you give up.
10. It was like 34-10 at one point.
Yeah, and it's
You gave up 21 in the fourth.
yeah.
All right,
So
I got a hypothetical for you, buddy.
yeah,
I
go
heard
for it. Go for it.
the guy SEC Mike threw it out on their little podcast. All right, so Texas is 7-2 right now. Their final 3 games are at Georgia, Arky, and A&M. If they win 2 out of the next 3, so if they beat either Georgia or A&M and beat Arkansas, and they finish 9-3, are they a college football playoff team?
Which 9-3? Which if they lose that Arkansas game?
No. Well, I'm saying
said
they got to win two out of the next 3. So yeah, if they lose to Arkansas, that means they beat Georgia and A&M.
Yeah, that means that's probably a good.
If they beat Georgia and A&M, they're definitely in.
Yeah. I don't think
Here's
tough,
the scenario. Here's what I'm saying. So
I know what you're saying.
Who would have the better resume then? Because this goes down to it. They would technically then have 3 top 5 wins or top 10 wins because they beat Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma when they were number 6. Vandy was number 9 when they beat them this past week, and then they would either beat number 5 or number 3 Georgia or A&M. Like, and then one of their losses is to the number 1 team in the country by a touchdown on the road. So that's the technically good loss. Yeah, so I don't know. That's a scenario.
No, and that's why I said there's still plenty. There's still plenty of time left.
100%.
Because teams have what I'm saying is
this would
we're at the back end of the schedule.
Yeah, this would boil down to you say, do you take a 9-3 Texas team over like a 10-2 Miami or a 10-2 BYU or a 10-2 Texas Tech? The winner of that game this week. One of those teams is going to have 2 losses.
Yeah.
So now you're like, do you put this 9-3 Texas team in or the 10-2 X team in? And that's where
I think a 9-3
that's gonna be an interesting boiling point of like they got way better wins. But
yeah. I mean, if you beat 3, if you lost by 7 to the number 1 team in the country and you beat 2 top 5 teams, how do you not put them in?
Yeah, well, this would be. I'm saying they got to win one of these. They have to go 2-3 to close out the year. Basically,
I'm saying I agree with you. But if they beat Georgia and A&M.
Oh yeah! Oh hell yeah! No, they're definitely.
That's what I'm saying. Even if they lose,
then they would have 4. They would have 4. Yeah.
It'll depend on how they lose. If they lost to Arkansas like on a last-second field goal, but they get those 2 wins, those are 2 of the biggest wins that any other team in the country could say they have.
Yeah, and then you go back and say, oh, by the way, they beat Oklahoma when they were ranked number 6. And they beat Vandy when they were number 9. Usually, yeah, they'd have their resume. This would be kind of like everybody's saying preseason, like if Florida finished through their schedule 9-3, they should be in. That type of thing. So it so happens to play out how it is, but that's the thing. Like, do I think this team? Here's what's weird: they're capable of beating, I think, Georgia and Texas A&M, but they're also capable of losing as well. Like they're kind of like who's funny? They're like Green Bay right now, dude. I know we're switching gears in the NFL.
Yeah,
how does Green Bay look so great and then lose to Carolina? Or what I'm saying? They beat Detroit. So Texas can look as good and beat in Oklahoma and beat Vandy, but then lose to the Gators. But I mean, again, the Gators are not a horrible rostered team, so that the recipe was all in there for them to lose that game.
I think we need to stop looking at it in an old sense of back in the day, like, oh, how did you lose to this team? Anyone could get got, and I know we've both been saying that, and it's proven it week in and week out that it doesn't matter how good you look this week. You better look just as good next week as you did this week, or you're going to get clipped unless you have Ohio State schedule.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but if you don't have that schedule, I mean, you just have to keep playing. That's why I say, I think the Canes. I don't think the Canes are going to make the playoffs, but at the same time, if you don't go out there and win and put yourself in a situation,
you got to go 10-2 to put yourself in the mix to get talked about.
Yeah. That's because the ACC is so wacky, and I say this every year. All these teams have 1 loss. Would it surprise you by the end of the year that all these ACC teams, there are 2 conference loss teams in the ACC championship game?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. No, not at all. It would not. Like I don't. Again, like I said, status quo would be, for Virginia to go on the road and lose to Duke next week, and then Louisville to lose to this team, and then they're all, like you say, 10-2, and it's basically a one bid league, the winner of the ACC championship game.
Yep.
But yeah, like the other two or three big games, we talked about it earlier. OU going on the road and beating Tennessee was big, man. Like that kind of knocked Tennessee out. I think, I don't think a 9-3 for them gets them in, to whereas now Oklahoma, you're 7-2, you're still alive, so that was, I thought Oklahoma, it was a back and forth game. Oklahoma just did enough to win that game. Aguilar played about as good as he could, threw for like 400 yards. He had the 2 interceptions, but Boomer Sooner, like I say, people are not here. People are not happy with Heupel. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I mean, they got in the playoff last year, but they've kind of been the same too. They've lost some games that maybe they shouldn't have.
But I think if you look at the amount of people they lost from last year's roster to this, like I know every team's going through it. They lost 95% of their offense from last season. When you think about it, they lost just about all their receivers, running backs, offensive line, and a brand new quarterback. And they're still able to put up numbers and to do what they're doing. And you lost multiple high round defenders that went to the NFL.
Yeah.
And to still be sitting there at 7-2, I think he's done a great job.
No, I agree.
And like you say, I just think fans aren't happy unless you're a fan of The Ohio State University at this moment. No one is happy. I mean,
shit, they wanted to fire their coach last year. They won the national championship, man.
They're still mad at him. They're still not happy because they haven't beaten Michigan. Think about that.
I know.
Yeah, we won the national championship, but we didn't beat Michigan.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, what did I say earlier this year? If we would have lost to Florida State, and we still somehow got into the playoff and won a national championship, I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to lose to
no, you don't want to, but exactly. You won the big one. You got yourself into the tournament and you won the big one.
It kind of reminds me of that little skit they did a couple years ago with Jalen Hurts and Charles Barkley, like where he had to wear the Auburn jersey, but he throws the backpack on and has the championship trophy in the backpack.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd rather have that flex.
Yeah, totally.
Than
I agree.
Michigan.
Yeah, the other two out there, three games we'll just quickly brush on. The 2 Big 12 games, Cincinnati, you were not ready for prime time. Utah blasted the hell out of you. Goodbye. Good night. See you later. Houston, you thought you were ready for the prime time. No, you get upset by Rich Rod in West Virginia. You're 7-2 now, out of the top 25. And then the Nebraska game, you thought you were going to come beat Lincoln. Not so fast, my friend. Dylan Riley out for the year. You sign up for a couple more years of Matt Rule, who's never won a big game. So Matt Rule is not going to Penn State. He's going to stay at Nebraska and stay mid 9-3 every year.
How about your boy Jeff Sims? He put on a cake this weekend. Jeff put on a cake.
Jeffrey Sims, big win.
400 yards passing
for the Arizona State Sun Devils. That blew one of my parlays because
I saw that and I was just like, shit.
I totally went against my boy because I was like, Jeff's not going to win that game, and he balled out. Like I say, Iowa State's one of those teams that you think you can count on, you never can.
No,
dude. How about the other thing too is what's going on in Boulder, Colorado, buddy?
It's over. I'm tired of hearing people putting this guy up for these big jobs, and it's like it's over, man. Like, plus you got to think if you're if you're Florida State, Miami, Georgia Tech, teams that people keep putting them associated with these openings, why would you take someone that's
I haven't heard any of that, really.
No. I'm talking about the fans. I'm talking about the fans wanting, Deion should go to Florida. He should go to Florida State. If you're a university and you're AD and you're seeing what's going on, A, on the field, and B, all the health issues he's having off the field, why would I sign up for that?
Yeah.
He's in the perfect place because there's no expectations.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Your best season when you had all generational talent with your son, who's a pretty solid quarterback, and the Heisman Trophy all-star that all the Power Fives wanted, and Travis Hunter, you still went 9-4, dude.
Yeah.
9-4. You know what I'm saying? Now that those guys have left, and this is what you're left with, you're getting 50 burgered by everybody right now, dude.
Yeah.
Like literally, the
It's the
last 2 weeks,
philosophy.
the last 2 weeks have just been bad. I mean,
It's
some of the stuff coming out where they're showing like the calls being made and the quarterbacks are like, what are we calling here? What is it? It's just like, what the hell's going on, man?
him losing on the
yeah,
on your DC.
did you see where like Warren Sapp was over there kicking pylons and Dion
Oh,
was
he
going to
does
pick
that.
him
No,
up?
he does that every week.
I know. It's just like,
Yeah.
he's like, Dion's like, come on,
There's
man.
it's more of a reality TV show than actual football
And
because
guess what? Think about how out of sight, out of mind it is now, too. Like,
yep,
think about when he first got there and like
everyone's
where
numb.
we are now.
Mhm.
Like nobody cares anymore.
Everyone's numb to it now.
No one
Like the
cares.
stars still want to go out there because they want to be next to Dion. And
Yeah, I don't even know.
I think
I don't even know if they're going out there because I haven't. Like I say, I haven't out of sight, out of
yeah,
mind.
I just
And
don't
you
think
ain't
he's
winning.
assembled. I don't think he's assembled a good staff of how he wants to run it. I think he wants to be the CEO and kind of let his guys do the thing, and he steps in, kind of like how Bobby Bowden was. I'll step in when I need to step in for the
Right.
most part, but I'm gonna let my guys. He just doesn't have the right guys in place in those positions, in my opinion, at offense and defensive coordinator. Now they got position coaches. I think the position coaches are good, but that doesn't mean everyone's on the same wavelength, the same level.
Right.
And once again, if I'm an AD at a power 5, power 4 university, seeing all his health issues, why would I want to
No,
sign up for that?
definitely. Definitely. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's hop into this week. We'll go ahead and we'll hit on your game just because I think you guys get back right. Syracuse has got a lot of issues.
A
Earlier in
lot of
the year, yeah,
coaching changes this week.
yeah, earlier in the year, when Syracuse like looked better before they got their injuries. I mean, they've just been on a major skid, and everybody's handled them literally since
But
they got
everyone gets up to play against Miami, and the
100%.
ACC officials will be there. So it could be
Yeah,
closer than what people think.
yeah, no, for sure. Like I have a feeling, it'll kind of live up to the kind of how the Stanford game. It might be a little slow, and then you guys handle business and take care of them. Like
I don't know if they're
this,
covered at 28,
yeah. I don't know if they'll cover the 4 touchdowns,
nor do
but
I care. Just win.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who gives a shit? Like we just talked about it last week. You were favored by, like that was the crazy part too. How the line shifted in that SMU game to where it was like 12-10 to like 8 before kickoff or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's all for gambling purposes. We talked about it last week. Who cares? I don't care if you're favored by 3 touchdowns or 1 point. Win the game and get out of there with a
Mm-hmm.
win somehow. And that's I think you guys. This is a good spot to play a team like this to try to get back right. It was kind of like Stanford. That was a good spot, to me coming off the other previous loss, to where it was like, okay, you lost to Louisville, you get Stanford, get right, cool. Then you go on your first road trip to Dallas, is your first road trip out of the state, all that.
Mm-hmm.
You lose. Now you come back home again, get right here, beat Syracuse. I think you do. Like I say, change up some of the stuff and let Carson wing it and,
Yeah, just
open it up a little bit. And like,
yeah, just a
don't
little bit,
rely just
man.
on ground and pound and be so conservative. So we talked about it, that's what I hope they do, and we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
I'm not saying let Carson throw it 60 times, but let's open up the offense and let's do a little bit more. Let's get some
Yeah.
more short routes. Like I've been saying, get the ball to the receivers and let them make plays. But let's stop running the stupid screens. Like everyone knows we're running
Yeah.
the screens, and by now you would think the guys would know how to block the screen because we're running it. They're not even blocking the screens, right? So it's like, let's get down the field. Let's get back to what we were running in games 1, 2, and 3, where Tony was, using his athletic ability with these shorter routes, take a couple shots down the field. Like you said, be more diverse in the run game outside of the A gap, basically. When I say be diverse, there's a B, C, toss, sweep, whatever. They did a little bit more in pistol out of the, with the run game. But yeah, let's be a little bit more creative. Let's run some orbit routes. Let's get some guys in motion. Let's just do something. But at the end of the day, the guys still got to catch the football, and the defense just has to start faster. Like we've been spotting points, and then the defense wants to settle in. And by the time the defense wants to settle in, the offense isn't putting up enough points. And so I think they're going to win. I'll say they win by at least 12 to 14.
Yeah, no, I think they win comfortably
Yeah.
this week, and
But I expect Syracuse to throw a lot, you know, reach in the bag and throw a lot out there. They made some changes on the offensive staff. Fran Brown's fired a couple people, moved a couple people to different positions. So there might be a new play caller. So you might expect a little bit of different, but at the end of the day, they don't have a quarterback, and Miami should be the better team.
yeah, no, I'm agree with you there. Like I say, I think they I think they get the W. Now the question is, can the Gators go on the road and get a much needed win after having a little bit of tough games back after back after back? The problem, going to Lexington hasn't always been the smoothest after they finally cracked the streak where we'd beaten Kentucky for 100 years. I think this is a game we should win.
I think Kentucky's bad. And
Yeah,
speaking of coaches getting
Kentucky's
fired,
yeah, Stoops is, he's a guy who's always been a guy who people have kind of trended like maybe he should go take another job. And, yeah, he's kind of what's
he missed
crazy is
this window.
Kentucky has always been one of those, 7, 8, 9 win teams. And now you've completely flipped and you're, a 3 to 4 win team this year. Yeah, they've played some people tough, but ultimately they haven't beaten anybody either. Yeah, their claim to fame is they played Ole Miss tough, or they played Tennessee tough, or whatever. They're not finding ways to win games. They've only beaten the bottom feeders of their schedule, like the Toledos and the Eastern Washington or Eastern Michigans. So, they somehow found a way to beat Auburn, and they got Hugh Freeze fired. So
Yeah, I think if the Gators just come out and play great defense, what they've been playing, I think just about the whole season, and if the offense could just take what they did in the Georgia game and amplify it, take more shots down the field, not like just go crazy taking shots down the field, but that intermediate area where they were hitting Trey Wilson. Hopefully, they get some guys back, get the offensive line primed up, run the football, play great defense. I think they go up and they win in BBN.
Yeah, I think they beat Kentucky. And like I say, what it sets up for is now can you play spoiler? We talked about it. Can you beat Georgia? Can you play spoiler, beating Ole Miss or beating Tennessee and beating Florida State at the end of the year to now maybe get bowl eligible?
It's not a spoiler beating Florida State.
No. I understand. I'm talking about the previous two.
Just
playing FSU is you could be potentially playing to get bowl eligible in a sense, because you got to win the rest of these games. You don't have to win out, but you got to win 3 out of the next 4.
Yeah.
So that would basically say,
and that's tough.
You beat Kentucky. Then can you spoil one of those 2 seasons of can you knock Tennessee out or can you beat Ole Miss to where you're playing Florida State to go to a bowl?
We know which game you want to win.
Yeah.
You want to win that Ole Miss game.
Let's beat Lane and Vaught Hemingway Swamp Stadium, which is going to be, they've already signed up. That's going to be next Saturday night. It's going to be a night game. So the Gators got 7:30 in Kroger Field in Lexington, and then they're going to be on the road next week at Ole Miss, 7 p.m. night kickoff. I'm sure when the Tennessee comes to Gainesville, it's going to be a night game in the Swamp in a couple weeks. So, but yeah, hopefully the Gators can get back on track, get a win in the column, and then we'll talk about firing Lane Kiffin next week to come on to Florida. All right, the biggest game probably, I guess, namesake wise. Florida State at Death Valley, which is no longer Death Valley, man. Did you see the stat that Clemson has lost 6 in a row to Power 4 teams, dude? Did you know that?
I had no idea.
Yeah. How about that one for you, buddy?
Wow.
Yeah. Clemson has lost 6 straight home games to Power 4 teams. They haven't won a home game. Yeah, they've beaten like the Citadels of the world or whatever. But yeah, dating back. That's a crazy stat for you.
Yeah, it is.
Where's that highlight, of like you're coming to Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, man. That's rough. So I don't know, man. What do you think about this one? Where's your thought process on can the Noles get this win? Is Clemson just Clemsoning?
I think it's a tough one because you don't know which Florida State team is going to show up.
Yeah,
even with Clemson,
hell, I don't even know. You don't even know what Clemson team's going to show up.
Yeah,
you think back. They lose that 17-10 game week 1 against LSU. So nobody knows what the season's beholding. That's 2 top 10 teams, and like it is what it is. then I remember clearly sitting in the swamp week 2 and being like, dude, Clemson's losing to Troy, as we were losing to USF. And they somehow found a way to win. You're like, okay. So then you come back, you lose the 3-point field goal game at Tech. Then I think the surprise was then you turn around the next week and lose to South Carolina or Syracuse. And then you finally get back on the winning side, beating Belichick, who's terrible, Boston College. So they're like, all right, now let's see. Like Clemson's going to get back in rhythm. Then they lose Klubnik, lose the SMU game, and then they lose that barn burner against Duke with another officiating call late in that game.
I didn't know about that until you told me that. And I watching that multiple times, it was just like
a 4th down play in the end zone, pass interference called on Clemson, where the Duke guy literally tackled the defender, set him up, 1st and goal at the 1. Duke goes in and scores and wins that game 46-45. Clemson loses that one. So like Dabo was hot about that.
Yeah. So how do you bounce back? How do you bounce back from that to this?
Yeah, man.
It could be a hangover because that's all you're thinking about.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's the thing. Normally this is where you say you're at home, but I just told you the stat. Like it doesn't matter. They are not winning home games, so you would hope
towards Florida State.
You would hope that the atmosphere. Yeah, you would hope that the atmosphere being a night game in Death Valley would maybe help. But yeah, this Clemson team has been majorly underperforming. Did Florida State find something in that 42-7 win over Wake? I don't know. Maybe they did.
2-game winning streak in the ACC coming.
I feel like FSU they're not as bad as their record indicates either. In my opinion, they really should not have lost that Stanford game. That was a bad loss. The Pitt game, back and forth. They didn't make enough plays to win. You guys trounced them. That Virginia game, I feel like they probably should have won that game. And so your season outlook is totally different if you take those 2 losses off your the win call, and you're 6-2 right now or 7-2. But
I think a lot of teams can say that though.
Yeah,
so
that's not where you are. Your record is what your record is. So, can you find a way to go win a
I think there are more issues. Well, there's a lot of issues up in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
I think there's just more issues going on in Clemson, and Clemson I don't think is as talented as they usually are from top to bottom. They have talent, I just not as deep like you were talking about earlier with NIL and transfer portal. I think that is hurting a team like Clemson because guys are like, why go sit there and sit behind someone? I could go somewhere else, like a Cal or Toledo or wherever, whoever's giving the bag.
I know I threw this out to you last week. What happens to Mr. Sweeney?
Nothing.
If they lose this game to Clemson, they lose to Louisville and they lose to South Carolina and only win Furman, and they go 4-8. Nothing.
I think the people are pissed, but they can't fire him.
I don't know. Everyone's firing everybody now, dude. Everybody's off the table. I know you've won a national title.
But that's my thing. If you're this late into the process of firing a guy that was just in the playoff last year, who are you going to get at Clemson? Better than Dabo Sweeney.
And again, he's one of the 3 who's got one of those trophies.
I think what will happen is there will be a meeting with the board of trustees and the president and the AD and Dabo, and they start telling him, you got to come to 2025 and get out of 2005.
Yeah.
And we know either you make these changes or it might be in your best interest that we part ways.
All right.
I think they leave it on Dabo's hands to be like, I guess I got to take in more transfers and we got to spend more in NIL.
Yeah, I'll do you one better. Okay, if they were to move on from Dabo and he becomes available, where does he go on the hot board list? And then where would be a great potential landing spot? Again, because this is what's crazy about this whole timeline thing. Nobody's been hired anywhere. James Franklin's being rumored to tab in that Virginia Tech job, or is he kind of waiting it out to see what's happening with Florida and LSU with the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes? Yeah, where does Dabo
if I'm a Power 5 coach, I don't touch Dabo with a 10-foot pole.
No, like Florida, like he's not a good fit for Florida.
No.
Auburn.
No.
No,
No.
I feel like Auburn would be a good spot.
Okay. I'm saying this knowing that Dabo Swinney does not want to deal with the transfer portal or NIL.
Right.
You
So,
cannot
so I mean,
not do
Dan,
that
so
in 20.
is he gonna go from like Clemson? Like, where would he go? Like, I mean, would it be like a place where like, okay, they fire Kentucky fires Stoops, and then let's say John Summerall, Mr. Tulane goes there. Would like Dabo have to be forced to go to a place like Tulane? You know, that's what I'm getting at. Like, so you're saying you don't see him a fit as like I don't think I wouldn't want him at Florida, but I'm just saying hypothetically, like, where would Dabo rank in the pantheon of like top coaches?
That's two. Hold on.
Is
That's
Dabo
two.
is Dabo
Hold on.
is Dabo
That's two totally different questions.
Yeah, I know. It's a
When you're
lot.
talking about if you're strictly talking about head coaching and who are the top coaches are in the country, Dabo Swinney is in the top 5. Now,
Okay.
in
That's what I did.
2025,
That's what I needed to know.
is Dabo good for any of these high profile jobs? Like I said, if I'm the AD and I'm sitting there and I'm interviewing Dabo Swinney, my first question is, are you willing to hit the portal? Are you willing to deal with NIL? And if
Mhm.
his answers are no, I can't deal with it
Yeah. No, for
because
sure. No, for
we
sure.
want to bring in. That's part of the reason. Okay, I take that back. I could see Dabo fitting in the culture at Penn State, but he still
Well,
needs to
I think that one's going
adapt
to be.
to
I know.
2025.
I think that's going to be off the table because I think James Franklin's ready to jump on that one. So I'm just saying, if the
No,
dominoes when they
Penn
start
State.
falling,
I said Penn State.
yeah. I got you. My bad. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
thinking Virginia Tech with
yeah.
yeah. No, that'd be an interesting spot. I think because I think if you're Penn State, you'd be happy with that. I guess. You know, again,
I think he kind of fits more of what their culture is and what it's been.
right.
They're not flashy. They're not, they're not going to put billboards up and all of those things. So I
Right.
think he may fit there. He does not fit in Gainesville.
No.
He does not. He won't fit in Oxford. He sure as hell won't fit in Baton Rouge.
Auburn would be maybe the closest I could see him fitting.
But then you're just you're just repeating what you've done the last 2 times. If you're
I don't
Auburn,
disagree. I don't disagree with that either. I don't disagree with that.
with
All
Harsin
right.
and Freeze, you're
Yeah.
repeating it.
Yeah. I don't know. Something to think about. We'll see. Like I say, first they got to lose these games. They might beat Florida State, and then it's where it's a moot point. They beat South Carolina. It's a moot point. All right. The other big matchups this weekend, besides our big 3 playing, the top matchup is the other top 10 game in the Big 12. The Brigham Young boys going to Lubbock to take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. This one looks good, man. I don't know.
I think it's
BYU.
yeah.
Is BYU for real, or is Texas Tech? They're a 9.5 point favorite.
I think if Texas Tech could come out and be physical like they've been majority of the season, and just try to beat up, and we don't know the QB situation again. I didn't see who played this week. I like Texas Tech to just handle BYU.
Yeah,
I think if
Morton played against K-State.
Okay, like I say, if they could come out and just be physical like how they were against Utah, and the Arizona State game got away from them, but they still played decent. I think they win this game. I think they take care of business.
I think they also beat BYU. BYU's been pretty damn good, but they're kind of scrappy. They were in a banger of a game against Iowa State the previous week, and so you're like, they had a banger of a game against Utah in the Holy War. They've kind of been, in a sense, battle tested, but they haven't really beaten like the big dogs. Their Utah win was nice. Don't get me wrong. But I still feel like Texas Tech's played better caliber ball. And I think that Arizona State game was kind of like they got caught. They got caught slipping that day, and they just didn't come out with their best game.
Yeah.
Like I say, they're a favorite almost by 10. So I don't know if they're going to cover the spread or whatever, but I think Texas Tech wins the game. And then I think they're going to that puts them in the driver's seat for the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I think they're going to be in. I don't know the rest of their schedule, but I think they're the best. They've showed to be the best team in the Big 12 consistently.
Yeah, Yeah, they close out with UCF and West Virginia. So this is their last game
Mm-hmm.
to get in to the Big 12 game. All right, my man. We got another ranked SEC matchup. Does Texas A&M have any upset alert going to Missouri this weekend?
Not without Prbula.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think as long as they don't turn the ball over and Marcel Reed do Marcel Reed things, I think A&M is going to win. I don't understand how that line's so low. I know they got to go to Missouri. I don't think that's a far flight or anything out of the way. As long as Texas A&M could run the football, Marcel Reed be efficient and play defense, they should take care of Missouri.
Yeah, I think they beat Missouri too. I mean, it could be interesting, but I think, like you say, with no Bo Pabula, that one hurts. There's really no other ranked matchups. There's a couple interesting games. I think Georgia going on the road to Mississippi State. I
It's
know
on my list. Yeah,
it's like Georgia's been going through it, man. This is a sneaky upset spot letdown game for them.
and it's in Starkville.
No, it's in Starkville at noon. It's 11:00 kick. So,
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State has had major explosive plays all season, man. So it's like anytime you can hit big plays, you got a chance.
And you feel like they're due. You feel like Mississippi State is due.
Here's the problem. They're in potential letdown mode because they finally got the win.
Yeah,
last
true.
week. So
but I mean a big win.
No, I know that, but I'm just hell. They hadn't won an SEC game in 2 seasons, so any win was a big win. So they beat Arkansas last week. They finally got that monkey off their back. They got that monkey off their back, but yeah, it's kind of a tricky situation for both teams. There's no hangover of we haven't won an SEC game, so you won one. I still think Georgia somehow they're just the scrappy team. They find a way to get it done. But I would not all be surprised if we're like turning around and be like, "Damn, Georgia's in another banger."
Hey man, I meant to say this earlier during our breakdown of the cocktail party. Is I guess I got to give Gunnar Stockton credit. He's just it's not pretty. He's just a scrappy player, and he can run, and he could when they need him to make plays, to make throws, he can make throws.
Well,
but
like I say, they're efficient. They pick up third downs. They get themselves in third and manageable.
Of what we're used to. The last several seasons.
Totally. And like you think about they don't have Brock Bowers and some of these guys that Lad McConkey's, and so like I was telling Dave when we were watching the game, like there's certain points where it's like it's like second and it'll be 2nd and 9 or something. They picked up they got 1 yard on first down, and then he'll scramble around and pick up like 6 or 7 yards and it puts you in a 3rd and 2, which is a way manageable situation where they can do what they want to do. And that's why they pick up first downs, because they find themselves in 3rd and real manageable, and so they extend drives. Keep their defense fresh, all that stuff. So Georgia, I think they find a way to win, but I think Mississippi State's going to bang with them, and it sets up for, like Georgia, Texas next week is going to be a big one. So, let's see. I think Indiana handles Penn State. I think that's going to be a blowout.
Bama shouldn't sleepwalk against LSU.
I think shouldn't sleepwalk. I know everybody. This is potential like upset spot. New coach, like interim, all that stuff.
Yeah.
The game's at Tuscaloosa, so I think that's definitely big.
LSU still has warts, but you just don't know how much it's changed. But I still don't think they have.
Think LSU can score, man.
No, I was just gonna say I still think that's part of the problem is they can't run the football and they're just not explosive as of what we're used to seeing LSU.
Ultimately, too, yeah, totally. Ultimately, too, I think what was big was Bama had gone through that gauntlet. They finally got to decompress, got the bye week, re-energized to say, hey, we know LSU's coming to town with all this. I think they'll be focused.
Yeah.
Because like you could tell that South Carolina game on the road last week was where you could tell they had went through that Georgia, Vandy, Missouri, Tennessee, like talk about a schedule. Yeah. And so I think, and then that sets up for their big upset game from last year. They get Oklahoma next week. So like I say, it's interesting how some of these late season games are coming to,
that's why I say when you
you definitely don't want to sleep. You don't want to sleepwalk through this, like because LSU
you got to look at yeah, you got to look at week to week, and there's still opportunities for teams to slide in, slide out. You don't want to mess up. So that's why I said, like earlier, where I feel like Miami probably has a 25% chance of making the playoff, but you still got to handle business at the end of the day. When you look at all the teams, I think there's only 4 outright good teams this year. I won't say great, good. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, and I'll put Bama in there are my top 4 right now.
Yeah, and what's wild is literally 2 weeks ago, I had you guys as like one of the top 2,
Right.
top 3.
So
that's how quick
it changes. And I think
I agree with your list.
Because they've been the most consistent. They've looked the best each week outside of the Florida State game. Every game Bama's looked good. Obviously, Ohio State hasn't lost a game. A&M had their couple scares to start the season, but they got through it. And Indiana's just been throttling everyone. So those are the 4 best teams. And now we're playing everyone as of today between 5 and 12. There's just one big jumbo mess for 5 through 12.
Yeah, I agree. And dude, just looking at Ohio State's schedule, man, God, pitiful, man.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
You play the week 1 game against Texas, and you get Grambling, Ohio, at Washington, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers before the big game.
That's atrocious.
Yeah, man.
So basically, if you put up the
you
SEC,
have one, you have 2 ranked wins. You got the Texas win, and you got at Illinois as your 2 ranked wins.
So if there are 16 teams in the Big Ten, they basically have played 8 through 16.
Yeah, I'm looking at Purdue's 16th. That's one of their games. They didn't play Michigan State, who's on the bottom. Wisconsin's the next to the bottom. That's who they'll have on there. Penn State, Rutgers, Illinois, UCLA, Washington. That's 8 through 16.
That was me saying that without even looking at the conference standings.
So here you go. The top 8 teams. This is a good way to put it. The top 8 teams, considering them in there as well. Indiana's the other one. So they would have Michigan, and that's it. And Minnesota would be like 7th, because Washington is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Washington's at 9. So there you go. So the top 8, they're one of the teams. So the other 7 teams in the top half of the Big Ten, they will have only played Michigan, which is the final week of the season, and Minnesota 2. My bad, 2.
So we really don't know. By us saying this doesn't mean we don't think Ohio State's a good team.
Yeah, I just don't. I want to see them.
Been battle tested,
dude. We've had to get this. This is funny. Switching gears, we've had this argument on the high school podcast. Me and Justin, like Reigns is number 1 in our rankings. They are beating the shit out of everybody. I'm talking about winning 50 burgers to nothing, 52-7, 60-3. Beating the hell out of everybody. They have not played a soul in high school football this year. It's been their schedule is terrible. And again, this is not saying that they're probably going to go to the state championship, but guess what? If they got to play Miami Northwestern again, I don't know how good this team is. They probably get blasted again. So, again, they're not taking nothing away from Ohio State or Reigns or whatever, or
but when you hit a little adversity, how do you handle
zero adversity? You got zero adversity. And so,
I think that's the question is, okay, in 3 weeks, when you got to go, is it in
Michigan? Yeah, they're going to Ann Arbor.
When you got to go to Ann Arbor, a team you have not beat in 5 years, and you really haven't had any adversity this whole season.
Yeah,
I want to see it, because you can tell me you're their number 1 team.
Yeah, and then you turn around the next week. Yeah,
you've been literally the number 1 team, I think, for the last couple of years, or you've been ranked number 1 at some part of the season.
Yeah,
but you haven't beat that team you claim you hate so much.
Yeah.
Now, if they go into Ann Arbor and they put a number up on them, I'll take back everything I said.
Totally. Well, but then on the flip side, you got to turn around the very following week and go play the number 2 team in the country in Indiana, which is kind of crazy.
The next week would be a different week, Sponge. That's why I
Yeah.
said that week. I'll give them their props.
You'll take back
Then
everything.
the following week, it'll be a different story.
Yeah, we'll clap it up for them. Say congratulations.
Exactly.
Let's see if you can go win back to back against Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, we
yeah.
got 4 weeks, and this sets up. There's a lot to unravel.
If your coach is in there, if you only have 1 loss or 2 losses, sitting there telling you, boys, we're still in it, and you used the Ohio State example of last year, you're still in it. You just got to get right for the rest of the year. I'm not just saying that about Miami. I'm saying about every team, because even Notre Dame, their schedule's easy for the rest of the way, but they also only put up 25 points against Boston College this past weekend.
I agree.
So you can't have that slip-up game somewhere in there. You still got to go out and play.
We got some
even though their roads
we got some breaking news from Adam Schefter, switching gears to the other league. Jakari Williams Colts have made a major move here, buddy. They're trading 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner.
Oh. I mean, it's big news, but 2 firsts?
2 firsts. Bears or Browns?
I heard they were buyers.
You guys, let's see. Here you go. This is 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Browns are sending DN Joe Tyron Shinoike and a 7th-round pick to the Bears in exchange for a 6th-round pick. So I don't know who this guy is.
Apparently, Jerry Jones said he made a trade last night, but he didn't tell the world what the trade was. So
the Jets have 4. The Jets are going to have 4 first-round picks.
Yeah, talk about flipping the roster right there. They better hit on all 4, at least 2 of them.
Here you go. The Seahawks have traded for.
Is today the trade deadline? Oh, today is the trade deadline.
Rashid Shaheed from New Orleans to Seattle, giving Darnold another weapon.
Yeah,
Jay, we're giving you all the NFL. Dude, he's a beast, bro.
JSN is sick. Those Ohio State receivers are all of them. You see that move Marvin Harrison did last night?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Oh, the Jags. Here we go. The Jags made a move, buddy.
Who they do?
Jacoby Myers.
To Jacksonville?
Yep.
Okay.
I see you, Gladstone. So here you go. The Jags. Raiders are trading wide receiver Jacoby Myers to the Jacksonville Jaguars in exchange for a 4th and a 6th-round pick. So that's I like that because BTJ's been a head case all year. Travis Hunter's hurt now.
But even when Travis Hunter comes back, they can say more on defense.
Yeah. No, I agree.
On offense.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, here's what's crazy. The Jags still have a ton of picks in 2026, even though they don't have the first. They've got like a 2. They got 3 3rd-round picks, a 4th round, a 5th round, 2 5th rounds, a 6th, and 3 7th. So the Jags they unloaded one of their 4ths and one of their 6s. So that's not bad. I wonder if Steve's going to have anything to say about that trade.
The Bears have been heavily pursuing Max Crosby and are closing in on a deal.
Hey,
according to sources out of Hallis Hall, I don't trust anything out of Hallis Hall.
Right. So you get a little trade deadline on the end of the College Football Talking Ball podcast, baby. Let's go. No, yeah. All right, my man. I'll let you get. I know you got to hit work and
vacation's over.
Vacation's over. Back to the work.
Back to work. Yep.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe.
Hey, send us some questions, man. We need to do a mailbag or something.
I know, right? A mailbag, baby. I gotta post on Facebook. That's where I get the most traction. So, yeah, what's funny was looking at Stratton and James Dagelman's reaction of, Stratton wanting to keep Napier, and then James was like, "Why?"
Yeah,
and it's just like
it was entertaining.
Stratton, I love you, bud, but your reasoning for wanting Napier is idiotic, bro. He's terrible. Like we're not we don't have to lay wasteland to the thing. Get the right guy in here. Keep what's going on. keep what he built that was successful and solid.
Mhm.
And like we said it earlier, get that Michelin chef in here to cook with these ingredients, aka Lane Kiffin, baby. Give me that. Hell, give me Lincoln. Give me Lincoln Riley with this ingredients, and let's
Do you
cook.
think? Do you think is I mean, there's more rumblings about that Miami Dolphins job, and 2 guys from the SEC that are good friends. There's been a lot of talk out there. Possibly, if Sark takes the Dolphins job, Lane could go to Texas,
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
or
Dude,
Lane could go to the
give
Dolphins.
me Lincoln. Give me Lincoln. Give me Lincoln.
Yeah, would he leave USC? You think he's a better fit at Florida than USC?
I
Can
think
he
he would
handle
be.
the SEC grind?
Now that's gonna be a totally different grind for sure. But I think he could. And
He keeps if Lincoln takes the job, he needs to keep the defensive staff.
yeah, keep Ron and keep that in place. Like
Yeah.
I said that to Gator Dave last week on when we were talking, and he was like, "That's a good point." Like, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you can keep our defense the way we played this year, the way we played at the end of last year, you can see where the change came. You know, you keep those philosophies in place, you keep recruiting those type of players. There's a lot of youth on that side of the ball. And then all of a sudden you insert an offensive mind like a Lincoln Riley or a Lane Kiffin to that offense.
Or Jeff Brom.
You got something. Well, I don't think Brom's going to leave, but he would be. He's still in my mix too, for sure.
Or Rhett Lashley, offensive mind. I'm talking about just offensive minds.
Well, Lashley already signed up. He signed up.
Oh, he re-upped. Oh, okay.
You were gone. SMU signed him re-upped on Friday.
Nice.
He's now a top 10 paid coach. So is he a top 10 coach?
I think he is.
Yeah, I think he's fringe. I think he's right there.
I think give him. I still think SMU still needs another 2 to 3 years. To like be consistent. He's made
like I say again. This top 10 list, like again, literally 2 guys that were on this top 10 list got fired. Like going into the season, you would have said James Franklin and Brian Kelly were top 10 coaches.
Yeah.
Just a couple years ago, people were saying Mike Norvell was a top 10 coach. You know,
go back to what I said earlier, though. Only because you're a top 10 coach don't mean you fit with that team.
Right. 100%.
You got to fit. Like when the whole world knew Brian Kelly was not going to fit in. As soon as he said my family, as soon as those words came out of his mouth, he does not fit LSU.
Yep. I agree.
That's simple. But yeah. Hey, once again, send us some questions. Give us a topic. Like, subscribe, share.
Yep.
Love you guys for listening.
Boys. Enjoy some college football. Peace.